Hi, this is Joseph. In this video, I want to share a particular setup that I use. I've been using this for many years, and there's a specific indicator that helps me with the confirmation of this particular indicator. I'll go a little bit deeper into that in just a moment, but I also want to mention that in the description just below this video, I'm going to give you two links that are resources where you can go and learn a little bit more about this particular indicator and how other traders use this indicator and what you could potentially do. It'll give you a couple of different ways to look at this indicator and see which one makes sense to you, or if in fact this indicator makes any sense to you and you want to use it at all. As we know, a lot of us, we gravitate towards certain indicators. We try a lot of them, and some of them we just don't even bother with. But it's a really good idea, I think, in my opinion, at least for me, to every once in a while give new technology or other sources of technology, including indicators, give them a look, get to know a little bit more about what that particular indicator does, because you may find out that the way you trade, and as you progress, as you become a more experienced trader, years pass, you might change the way your style is a little bit, and you'll find that in the future, some of these indicators that you ignored in the past and you kind of knew a little something about them, you may find that they might help you filter out good trades and bad trades for you. And that's a really important process. That's what these indicators should be used for, is to help you as a filter, not necessarily give you a buy and sell signal. Back when I first started trading in 2000, I thought that's what indicators did. I thought that indicators generally or basically would just tell me when to get in and when to get out, when to close my trade. That's not how they always work. That's not what they should be used for. And you'll find that as you start to blend and incorporate some of these indicators into your trading system. The reason I decided to make this video today is that the video that you see right now on the screen, this is from SMB Capital. They just put out this video this morning and it showed up on my YouTube feed. And I watched it, and they're talking about Linda Raschke. So Linda Raschke has a specific oscillator. I've been in her chat rooms, in the past. I've read her books. And watch some of her videos when she's interviewed by other YouTube channels. Great trader. But when people ask her about the settings of the oscillator that she used, people get a little bit confused. They want to know, where they can go get this indicator, and then they start, trying to figure out how to get the indicator onto MT4. I'm going to show you how to use this indicator on MT4 because that's where I use it on the MT4 platform. You can certainly use it on TradingView. I mean, it's available on just about every platform, but I'm going to show you specifically for the MT4 platform and how you could make it work. You may be interested in what it is, that I'm doing with this particular indicator and the strategy that I use. You may be interested in what Linda's doing, and what they're talking about in this video is how Linda uses it. And then they move on to explain how some of the SMB Capital traders are incorporating the MACD histogram into their own trading style. So let's go ahead and jump right into my charts. And I want to take you back a couple of weeks to the NASDAQ. This is the MT4 platform, of course. And you'll notice that I have the MACD sitting right down there at the bottom. Now, I need to disclose that I don't trade off of it where I'm not waiting for this thing to provide me a buy or sell signal. I want to stress that that's not what I'm looking for. It's not the indicator down here that's giving me the buy and sell. The indicator, what it's doing is, in my opinion, this is how I use it. Now, every trader is going to manipulate this indicator into doing what they fit or they seem best for them, however it fits into their trading style. But what I'm doing is I'm using it as a momentum indicator. And I'm going to show you where you can get more information about learning how to use this as a momentum indicator. I don't really teach this strategy. I talk about it in my trading course, but I don't teach it on my free YouTube channel. I just kind of pointed out that it's what confirmed a move, something like this. Now, before I move any further and we move away from the NASDAQ, I want to say that the reason I'm showing NASDAQ is this was a really good trade. I was discussing this with some of my private coaching clients, and I want you to know that you can use it on indices, you can use it on commodities, and you can use it in Forex. I use it on Forex all the time. What I was saying a moment ago is that this indicator down here is not always on my chart. It's only on my chart when I need it as confirmation. Because generally I would remove it from my chart. I would not have it on my chart, and I would just look at price action and specific levels. I trade off of levels. That's my key component of my trading system. Now, it may not be yours and it may not be somebody else's. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's so many different ways to trade. What's important is that we master the method that we decide as an individual, that we master that particular strategy. So what I use primarily is support and resistance levels, but three key levels every single day that appear on every single chart. I mean, it's something that Paul Tudor Jones talks about. It's something that Schaubacher and all the books that they talk about, all the old school books, everybody talks about these levels. So I'm trading off of levels. I'm waiting until price gets there. And then when price gets there, then I sit up, I pay attention, and I start looking at the activity to try to calculate whether or not I'm likely to see some move that would be relatively explosive. I'm not trying to scalp with this indicator or with this particular system that I've developed and then apply the indicator. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, but what I'm saying is that I don't. That's all. And this is a 5-minute chart. So you can see that on the NASDAQ, this was a pretty decent move. This was pretty explosive move. This box, this yellow box that you see here on the screen, that closes right at 9 o'clock California time. I'm located in California, so that's 9 o'clock. I'm 3 hours behind New York. So at that time, you can see that a lot of the activity is done usually, but not always. And then sometimes we get a reversal like this that takes place. And then we could trade it, let's say, back up to the highs of the morning, that particular session, the New York session. So I'm looking for a reversal. This is a trend reversal breakout. That's what I call it in my trade playbook. In my playbook, what I call this setup is a trend reversal breakout. So you can see that we were in a downtrend for most of the morning. And then we start to get this reversal, signs of a reversal. You can see what's going on here within these moves. 3 bars up, 1 bar down, a kind of sideways bar, 1 bar down. Then it starts to pick back up again. Well, what I have here on my screen is pivots. I'm looking at pivots. Now, of course, the larger time frame pivots are much more important to me, like the 1 hour time frame. But if I'm looking for a reversal and this happens to be a bounce off of a significant level, let's say the previous day's low or the previous day's closing price, or maybe even 2 or 3 days back, or maybe even last week's closing price, these are all levels that have an impact on the possibility of a reversal. It could be. Now, I'm not saying that that happens all of the time, but that's primarily what I'm looking for. And if I see the potential of a reversal, I'm going to be watching here, and I'm going to be watching the pivots. Now, in this case, I was able to drill down to the 5-minute chart. I anticipated this move right back up to this pink line right here. That was a specific level that I was trading to and around. I'll talk about that in another video. This pink line right here, the moving average, is just the 20-day moving average. I think a lot of people use it. Not everybody, but a lot of people use it. So it's something that you could easily find and put on your charts. And when I refer back to the pivot points, what I'm doing is finding key high levels and lows. So pivot points, sometimes people call them highs, lows, pivots, pivot highs, pivot lows. It's helping me determine whether we're in a downtrend or if we're going sideways in consolidation or compression, or if we're breaking out, starting to make this move, and it's confirming my thesis that this thing's probably likely to go up, back up to that areas of resistance from the morning, or that pink line. That would be my first target. So you can see that this was a really good move. And if you look at these 5-minute charts, one of the other things that I do, and I highly recommend every trader study this, and there's a gentleman named Bill McLaren, and he does some work. There's a short, really small PDF you might be able to find, and he talks about counter trends. And one of the things that I drew from reading his material is that a trader never truly, and you could argue, I'm just saying that this is my opinion, you don't truly understand a trend until you understand the counter trends. And the reason that that really resonates with me, it may not with you, maybe at some point in the future, it might, you might remember it. But what I'm getting at is that when I used to trade and I wasn't paying attention and studying the counter trend movements in an uptrend. So counter trends would be these little pullbacks right here. I wasn't really studying them. I was just basically, when I was looking at candlestick charts, when I first started trading, I didn't know enough about the details. There's a lot going on and a lot to read here when you study and you get really, really deep and involved in the movement here and these patterns and what's going on. And what I found later on, what I needed to study and what I found as one of my weaknesses is that when I would get into a trade, I would get in and I used to trade it to psychological levels, let's say to the 80, the 20, the 50, the 00, things like that. And sometimes I still pay attention to those levels, and sometimes it'll stall right around there. But that was my go-to in the beginning. And I did that for a long time. And when I taught other people my system, it was really easy for me to tell them, trade and Forex, usually I would get a 20, 30, 40, 50 pip move on a big move. I'd get lucky. But you want to know how long you can hold onto a trade. Have you ever looked at a trade and it broke out and it did what you thought, and then you took some profits, and then you come back a couple hours later, or you're just sitting there staring at it, you see it keep going, and it just keeps going, it keeps going. At the end of the day, you think, how can I get more of that move? I'm not getting enough of it. This is what was going through my head. And I was thinking, I need to study. I need to study these trends and understand what a trend is, what it looks like, what justifies a trend, what justifies where the trend's likely to stall, and then you should be taking profits instead of taking profits too soon. So I would see a black or a reversal bar like this if I was looking at a black and white chart, and I would think, okay, this is it. I better lock in my profits, and I was done. That's what I used to do when I first started trading. And then it would continue, and I would get really frustrated. And sometimes you chase it, and it pulls back again, and you get scared again. So you close it out with a small loss or a small gain, and then it does it again. And you think, why? Why am I doing this? And what do I need to know? What do I need to know? So study the counter trend movements. I think it's really important what McLaren says is that a trader doesn't truly understand a trend until he understands the counter trend. That way he's not shaken out of the trade too soon or too early, and you can hold on to these trades. So when I look at this 5-minute chart, this is my go-to whenever I'm in a trending move like this. These bars that are moving up and then one pullback and then the trend resumes and then it goes sideways and then the trend resumes and then it goes kind of a small pullback but sideways and then it resumes and then it goes sideways here and then it resumes. There's nothing here on these pullbacks that would warn me that it's time to close down this trade and that the trend is over, like it's likely to finish, and I better start locking in profits. Now, one of the other things that people do is that they look at each bar that develops and they'll say, okay, well, did this bar take out the low of that bar? If not, hold on. If this bar didn't take out that bar, then hold on. If that bar didn't take out the low of the previous bar, then continue to hold. Like that. They just keep going. And sometimes you'll see that right here, it could have knocked you out of the trade prematurely. But what I'm looking at is the counter trend movements. That's a good idea, but you could go a little deeper to understand the counter trend movements. And I would not have been shaken out of the trade on that move right there because that bar took out the previous 2 bars or something to that effect. And sometimes you'll see it be a little bit deeper, yet it'll still close bullish. And it'll tell you that you can continue to hold on to the trade. And this doesn't tell me to close it. This doesn't tell me to close it. That bar, that doji right there doesn't tell me. That one, neither does that one. Now over here is where it starts to warn me that this is probably going to top out. As a matter of fact, this was also towards the end of the day. So that's something else to keep in mind, is not just levels, but also the timing, the time of day. That we all know that really has an impact on when we should be locking in profits or considering, that this move could be done. Now, if I talk about the trend reversal where I got into the setup, let me show you. I'm going to draw some X's here. So what I got is a pivot low, and I have a pivot high. Now, I primarily prefer to do this on a 1-hour time frame to find the direction of the trend overall. But again, if I'm finding a reversal and the possibility of a reversal, now I'm not going to go into too much depth as to why this happened. You got to do some study. I want you to know that the first time you use this, you got to be prepared for the fact that if this isn't occurring, if this trend reversal, and the indicator is all confirming, but if it doesn't happen at a specific level, it may be that the trend may resume to the downside and you're going to get stopped out. Like, you got to do some study. This isn't going to be, whenever you watch these videos on YouTube, and I know a lot of people did it. And when I bought, YouTube wasn't around when I first started, but when I bought, DVDs, those CD-ROMs, those courses online, I'd buy them on a website and then they get shipped to my house and I'd watch them on my, DVD player. And they would show, patterns like this, but they wouldn't talk about the context. They wouldn't talk about, what is this actually bouncing off of? What do I need to be prepared for? What do I need to know? So practice with this, paper trade it or just demo trade it. Do not trade it with live money. I mean, you might get lucky the first time, but it's not that easy. We all know that it's not that easy. It's going to take some work. But if you like what I'm talking about here and it kind of resonates with you, you've been playing around with the MACD for a while, you might want to consider using this system. So I got a pivot high right here. Now, again, before these pivots were broken, I still knew that this area down here was an area that was likely to possibly cause a reversal. Next, I needed to, once I found the area that I was looking for, I sit up and pay attention. Then I start looking for the pattern and what's going on here. Now, there's a pullback right here and I got a pivot low. Now, so what I've got basically is a kind of like that ABC pattern, the 1, 2, 3 pullback, like the A, B, C pullback. People back in the day, I used to use the Fibonacci tool and I would draw it from that A low to that P high and find the C, let's say it was a 618. And then we usually expect kind of a test or a pullback. And there I have it right there. And again, looking at the counter movement, this doesn't look like a full-on reversal where the trend's going to resume and look like this or like this or like this. You can see the trend as it resumes. the way it looks, this area right here does not look like anything like that over there. You got to be conscious. You got to train yourself to be thinking of these things. It's a lot to process, but you've got to train yourself, and that's why you got to be careful when you go run out right away and you see the pattern. You think, there it is. I remember that video, and then you take it and it doesn't work, and then you go, that sucked. So be careful. But the system does work if you use it in the right way. And it took me a long time to make this work. Like I tried this trend reversal breakout for a long time, and it took a considerable amount of time for me to make it work. But it works on Forex, and it leads to these very often to these big explosive moves. Now, there's a little bit more to it that's going on in the background, but let's go into the indicator and the settings itself. So this is the MACD. Now, this isn't the standard MACD that comes typically installed on the MT4 platform. I had to go out and search for this. So what I have here is the 2-line MACD histogram, or I'm sorry, the MACD indicator. So it's the 2-line MACD indicator. It doesn't normally come this way. I have to download it from, I forget what that website is, where all those MT4 indicators are. A lot of you are probably familiar with it, and they're free, and you can download them. That's where I got this one from. So you'll notice I do have some settings in here that are custom to my own. I make the histogram a little fatter, a little thicker, so I can see it, so it stands out, and I'll show you why I need that, what it processes for me, how it helps me process this trend and the breakout and the momentum. Again, I'm using the MACD as a momentum indicator in this case, and I'll share with you where I developed the strategy and who I learned a little bit more about this particular method using the MACD as a momentum indicator. So that way, if you want to go a little bit further into your research and learn a little bit more from other people, you can do that. Again, the way Linda Raschke, the way she uses it is as an oscillator. So in this video right here, in this video, if you watch this video, I'm going to give you the link. They're going to show you the settings that Linda uses it as an oscillator. I'm showing you the indicator and the settings that I use as a momentum indicator. So I'm using 5, 32, and 5. 5, 32, and 5. Let me see if I can open up the settings here. So I'm using the inputs 5, 32, and 5, and then the colors, the blue line, the top line, the 0 line, I'm making that one a little bit thicker. That's the line right there that's going to give me my crossover. And then the green, the two bottom ones, the two bottom ones, the green and the red, number 2 and 3, those are the histograms. And then I make those a little bit thicker. You can see I have it on the 3rd thickness. Now, again, that's important to me because as I see this pullback right here, remember how I was talking about this pullback right here, how that pullback does not look like it's going to continue the trend the way the trend continued when it was in a downtrend. You notice right here in the indicator, and I'm going to put my crosshairs right here. If you look at the MACD histogram, there's 2 parts to this MACD histogram when we're using, I'm sorry, the MACD indicator when I'm using it as a momentum indicator. So as it's creating these pivots and the pullbacks, I see that it's creating more momentum, right? You can see down here with the indicator lines, they've crossed, they're starting to move up, and the MACD indicator is, the histogram is also doing the same thing. They have to correlate together. They have to show you the same signal. If the MACD histogram was not showing me this upside momentum and it was showing me something that was totally opposite of what I see here in the indicator lines, then it would be a trade that would be canceled to me. I would not take that trade. It's telling me that something's wrong if I'm going to use it as an indicator, as a confirmation indicator. Again, I have to see the pattern here first. I have to see the breakout. You can see that this bar right here, that was my trigger. I call that a clamp up bar. Some people call it a death bar. All kinds of different versions of whatever. Everybody's got their own, right? We all do it. But this one is just something that makes sense to me when I write it up and I journal all of my trades. It's a clamp up bar to me. It's breaking and closing above. Often these clamp up bars will look something like this, where they'll start a little bit lower and then they'll close above like 5, 6, 7, maybe 12 different bars. This one is okay. This one's doing exactly what it's supposed to. So I have a pivot low, pivot high, pivot low, pivot high, pivot low, and then we break out and close above that pivot high. And when it breaks above that pivot high right here, I see the momentum indicator. And on this pullback right here, on this swing right here where I'm moving my cursor, you can see that the MACD histogram has no negative or red histogram bars in there. Now, some people will call it, I hope I don't misinterpret the way they phrase this, but they'll call it a no return pullback or something to that effect, where the momentum is still so much in favor to the upside that even on this swing here, there was no loss of momentum to the upside in this indicator. And that is the confirmation that I need to help me determine that if I'm going to use this as an indicator to confirm my signal, this is likely to work out. It just kind of gives me that, thumbs up. Okay, you're good to go. Like you should trust this. It's above the 20-day moving average. I would do it anyway. But this just kind of gives you a visual. Some of us like the extra sense of security or confirmation. And remember, there are times when it'll do just this, but it won't confirm because we're still in a downtrend. So you've got to be able to step back and look at the larger time frames and make sure that if this is a bounce, this is a justified bounce off of support, and it's likely to create a move like this. This was a really big move. And this happens in Forex. It happens on commodities. Now, I said that I don't always keep this indicator on my charts. What I do is I create this chart with this indicator as a template. And then I just remove the template from this chart when I'm watching. So basically, when I'm watching during the day, I'm going to see my charts with the 20-day moving average, my levels and the bars and everything in these shaded areas to highlight that certain trading sessions and windows of opportunity for me. But when I see something like this set up, then I'll go and I'll add the template with the MACD indicator as the momentum indicator for me, and then I'll put it on the charts, and then I just kind of sit there and watch. I just sit there and watch it. Now, I got to tell you, this works on the daily time frame. I've taught this to my coaching clients, and they use it on the daily time frame, and they love it. Like obviously the stops are bigger, but you're going to be holding a little bit longer. So it's up to you if you are comfortable with holding on to larger time frames. It works on the 4 hour, it works on the 1 hour, but I use it like this on the reversals when I find a good opportunity when I'm day trading. I like to day trade, and it's just the way that I use it. Again, Linda Ratchke, the way she uses it is an oscillator. So it's kind of similar. If you watch the video, she's looking for patterns that are very similar to this, and it's on the break like that. You'll see it. But it's just interesting how traders can use these different tools in the way that suits them, yet it's still profitable. It doesn't mean because one trader is using it in a different way without the same settings that it's just not going to work. That's not true. So the way that I use it and the settings that I use, let me show you the last resource that I have for you. If you go to Base Camp Trading, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Maybe you have, maybe you've considered it. They have a lot of little freebies that you can get on their emailing list and learn some basics. Remember, the stuff that they give you for free is just free stuff, and it'll help you. But they do teach a system that's very similar to what I just showed you on my charts, that trend reversal breakout. They even call it a trend reversal breakout. And they use the same settings that I do. And these guys are pretty good. Like these guys are up there at the same level, in my opinion, as Linda. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but they're close. I mean, these guys are the pros. These guys are at the top of the game, right? And so in certain areas, they're probably a lot better, and they do things that she doesn't do, and in other areas, like she does things that they don't understand. So it all makes sense. That's what makes the market. That's what makes the whole world go round, right? Like everybody's got their specialty, and they just work at it and work at it and work at it until it just produces the results that they want. If it's something that's justifiable to begin with. So if you want to learn more about these systems. Naked Trading Mastery is a really good program. If you're still thinking about trades when you get into it, and you're like you've been trading for a while, for a few years, and you're thinking, God, it's just not clicking for me. There may be information in this course because of the way they teach it. That might help you. Like you may have to do like a total reset. I've done it to myself many times over the last 23 years that I've been trading. I just do a reset. I think, okay, it's kind of like, let's say a black belt, right? They get to a black belt or the top level at their school and they say, you know what? I want to go back all over and start all over again with a black belt's experience. It's kind of like that. Like you just do a reset and just go, what were some of the things that I missed? Can I go back in and pick up? I want to have an open mind. I don't care if anybody laughs at me. I don't care if they say, oh, you're just a beginner. I don't care. I want to hear it all. Like I want to go. I want to be better. I want to be good at this. Don't ever stop. That's what trading's all about. That's what's going to take you to that 1% of the people that make it, the guys that make $20 million a year. You want to be one of those guys. Like this is achievable, but it's not achievable for everybody. You really need to put in the effort. You really need to think about how hard you're willing to work at it. So just be really comfortable with being uncomfortable about learning new ideas and new concepts, and consider some things. Consider things that other people are using. You got to sit back and think, okay, what are the pros doing? What are they using? Well, if Linda's using the MACD as an oscillator, why shouldn't somebody else consider it? You see these other videos and they go, oh, I only use price charts with just naked trading. No, there's nothing on it. I don't use any volume. I don't use any indicators. And for a long time, a few years back, I'd say maybe for the last 10 years or so, maybe a little bit longer, and even up until recently, people have this attitude, like if you have indicators on your chart, you're kind of amateur trader, and that is not true. If you're relying on the indicator as your buy and sell signal, I would say that, and that's as far as you're going to spend time learning about the markets and charts. Yeah, you're probably an amateur, and it's probably going to get you into trouble. But when you start looking at the charts and you know what you're looking for overall, and you see what's going on, you see the big picture, the smart money concepts, all of that, and then you incorporate these indicators as a visual form of confirmation. Some people need it, nothing wrong with that. Linda uses it, nothing wrong with that. Use it, like use it. The traders from SMB Capital use these indicators. They go out and they study new indicators that they've never studied before, but they've heard about them and they think, it is so irresponsible to want to be the best and make as much money as you could possibly make from the markets. I've always said, you want to make $1 million, you want to make $100,000, you want to make $10 million this year. The market's holding your money. The market has your money, and it's not going to keep it from you. The only thing that's going to keep it from you is you. You've got to get out there and say to yourself, what else can I do? What else can I add? What will click? What will, resonate with me? Because we're all different. That's why we have all of these different indicators out there. So don't be afraid to do it. Now, if you're still struggling, if you want to copy my trades, these are some of the tools and some of the things that I use every day. I use these trend reversal breakouts. I trade off of levels. I don't always, sometimes the indicator won't line up. So I got to do a little more work to make sure that the trade's going to work for me if it is something that I'm going to use anyway. There's a lot of different variables to it. I can only share so much with you in this video. But if you want to copy my trades, you can use my trade copier. I trade the markets all the time. My copy trade service, it will copy all of my trades every time I execute a trade in my MT4 account. And it'll go instantly into your MT4 account. You can copy that trade. And then you can start to dissect my trades. Or you can use it to build up your trading account. Like everybody uses it in all of these different ways. They use it to copy my trades and do multiple trading accounts. And I just make my trades. Like I trade off of my trading platform every day. If I make any adjustments to my stop loss or take profit, the trade copier will instantly copy whatever it is that I do. So as soon as I close out these trades, it'll close out the trade instantly in your platform. You can look at these trades when you wake up. If I happen to be sleeping and you're in a certain part of the world where you're sleeping and I'm trading, or vice versa, either way. And you can also trade your account. You can trade your account and still copy my trades, and your trades won't affect my trades. And you can even close my trades if you don't like my trades, if you use my trade copier. But this is what I do. This is what I've been doing for many years. So I just wanted to put out this video to say, if you're not going to use my trade copier, that's great. Learn how to do it on your own. But if you want to copy my trades, you can follow along, make money with my trades, and learn at the same time. It may ease some of the pressure and the financial stress that you're going through if you're not making any money. Copy my trades, make some money with my trades, and learn at the same time at your own pace. But I've given you two resources. Watch that SMB Capital video and see how Linda uses it and some of the SMB traders use it. And then also, if you want, consider, maybe learning a little bit. Sometimes at Basecamp Trading, they have some special promotions where you can get in for like $27. They don't always do it. You might just want to get on their email list before you get that offer. But, you might learn some of these strategies and they may really help you. It's not going to give you the trading system that you're looking for that says buy here, sell here, but they're going to give you those basics and the foundation that you may have missed when you first got into trading. I did it when I first got into trading. I just wanted to trade. Like I just wanted to read just as much as I needed to, and then just take some trades. And that's not how it works. So, and if you're there, if you know exactly what I'm talking about, then you probably need to go find some other resources that will really help you with the basics so you can really, really develop as a trader. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you had a great trading week.